Okay, so today we are going to make a cherry cream croissant. This is a great thing to have for breakfast or to have as a dessert or, you know, to serve at dinner parties or whatever. I'm making the entire recipe for $7.96 and it makes 16 croissants, so that is 50 cents basically a croissant. So pretty cheap, but I should note that there's two ingredients that I did not include in that price. One is an egg, because, you know, I buy them usually in 24 packs, so this only comes down to a couple of cents. And then also icing sugar, because another thing that I bought in a big quantity, so it's kind of hard to break it down to exactly how much that costs. But I mean, it wouldn't cost more than $8.50 overall. So the other ingredients we are going to need, so you've got your icing sugar and the egg, like I said. You'll also need a package of cream cheese. This does have to be softened before you can work with it, but if you're running short on time, or if you forgot to take this out of the fridge, you can slice it up while it's still cold, put it onto a plate, and then toss it in the oven on a low setting for like 10 minutes. Or you can even leave it out on room temperature for 15 minutes, just depending on how cold it is. You do want it pretty malleable though for what we're about to do. Then you will also need a can of cherry pie filling. And then you will need 2 rolls of croissant. Now I don't know exactly how this happened. One is regular sized and one is jumbo sized, but that's okay. Well, I'll just work with this. I think what happened is they probably bought 3 because of some kind of sale and then used the wrong one in a past recipe, but that's okay. We'll work with this. So, first thing we're going to do is we'll need a mixing bowl. And if you have one of the fancy, you know, beater things, then that is fine too. I inherited this from my grandma, but you can't pick these up at thrift stores usually for like $5 or $10. They're not that bad. Let's see if we can find the right setting here. So you will need your package of cream cheese. Now you don't have to do this part. I just do it because it makes it a little bit easier to beat. I like to slice it into the bowl instead of just dropping the entire cube in there. Whatever, that's fine. So I'll just do quick, and slice this in just like that. Just so that they're in slightly smaller pieces. However you want to do that, that makes it easy. There you go. Delicious. I love cream cheese. Okay, so that goes in one big bowl. Next thing is you will need a cup of icing sugar. That kind of, yeah, looks good to me. Put that into the bowl. So, and take your egg. Now, I'm going to use one of these things because it makes it a little bit easier. I kind of inherited this from a roommate that left it behind, and it is specifically an egg separator. You can find these for pretty cheap at thrift stores usually, but if you don't have one of these, then there is another way. So this one, you just crack it right in there. But if you don't have one, you can just tap the egg like you would normally open it, and then use your fingernails, just kind of grab it and pull the top half of the egg off. You have to do this really carefully, but then you can just go back and forth with the yolk, letting the egg whites fall into a bowl or something, and then the the egg whites will be in the bowl and the egg yolk will still be in the shell. I'll show you how to do that in a different video. So I'm going to use this today. So give that a little crack. This is kind of tricky because you have to hold this and the egg at the same time. So, like this. Be careful not to break the yolk because you don't want them to mix together. And there you go. I'm just going to put this aside for a sec. Give this a little wiggle. There you go. So now the egg yolk is in here because I need the egg yolk first. So the egg yolk is going in with the sugar and the cream cheese, and then you've just got egg whites in here. Oh, now we're going to mix this all together. That is all done. That's delicious. Okay. Now, oh, I forgot to tell you to preheat the oven to 350 degrees. I'm going to do that now. All right, so that's done. So I'm going to set this aside. Let the beaters drip into the bowl, because the next thing we're going to do is separate the dough into 16 triangles. So these just open. If you haven't done them before, there's like a little silver thing on the side. You just grab it. This doesn't always work the first time. You get ready. This sometimes makes a really loud pop, and the first couple times it scared the jeebers out of me. So I always flinch when I do this. And of course it didn't go. All right. Try this again. Well, that's useless. Okay. Just kind of press on the seam. There we go. So that one's open, and then we'll open this one. Whew, it just scared. Okay, and then give it a little twist. That comes open too. Okay, so we're going to get our baking sheet. We're going to lightly grease it, so I'm just using a no-name cookie spray. That was a light greasing. Alright, we'll do small ones first, I guess. So, you do want a clean countertop before you start this. Let's see what I'm doing here. So I did wipe down my counter. And there's usually, oh, was it supposed to break like that? I don't think so. There's usually a seam on the side there. I don't know if you can see that. Maybe it doesn't matter. There we go. You're going to separate these. And place them on a baking sheet. You know what, I think actually I'll need 2 baking sheets, so let me get another one of those started here in a second. Okay, now you're going to take, it says approximately a tablespoon, I guess I'll use a tablespoon, of the cream cheese batter that we made. Okay, so about a tablespoon onto, I guess that's kind of hard to see. We'll have to do an adjustment here. Also, I'm going to grab a little knife. So you want about a tablespoon near this short edge here. Alright, next thing we're going to do is open up your can of pie filling. And, oh, we need our tablespoon again. And you're going to put a scoop of pie filling on each end as well. Now this is where things get a little bit tricky, I guess. You want to take the long point of your croissant and spoon it over. We actually might need that knife back just to kind of, you want it kind of like, if you pretend that this long point is in there, it should kind of look like it's in the center. Because then this is going to go over top and tuck it underneath. Now these long ones are so big, I don't know how it's gonna work. Okay. Okay, so remember that egg white I put aside earlier, so I have it in a little bowl. I'm just going to lightly beat it. Just a little bit. And I'm going to take a brush. I'm just going to brush this over the top of all the croissants. I should show you what I'm doing. I really want to fold that one piece over. It's really going to bother me. Okay. I want to fold this to cook those ones that I accidentally bought that were bigger. I'm going to do it. I'll do it to these two. We'll see how they turn out. Okay. I guess we'll put them in the oven and see what happens. So they're gonna go in the oven for 15 minutes. Alright, so they're gonna come out of the oven looking a little bit like this.
What's that?
I'm filming. I knew you were gonna do that. As soon as I started.
You told me you were filming.
So the jumbo ones actually turned out kind of cool when I folded that extra corner over. And the ones that didn't, which is this one and this one, I mean, they look alright too. I'm sure they'll taste fine. So what we learned was not to stretch them out too much when you pull them out of the packages. That should help keep the little shape a little bit better. But besides that, I mean, whatever, they're gonna taste good.